Welcome everyone to the Shadow and the Blade showdown between the Greenskins, who shall be led by Warhammer, and take a look at that new sweet portrait. And today, guys, we're going to be facing off against the Dark Elves, who shall be led by Dov Plays and the High Beastmaster. So let's go ahead and take a look. I think that's what he's called. Yes, the High Beastmaster coming in on the dreaded Manticore. So certainly going to be quite a bit of fun. So we'll go over my army very quickly. It's pretty traditional. Not much, I mean, not any new stuff, obviously. It's not a Greenskin DLC here, but it's going to be a couple Black Orcs in the front for some sustainability, some immunopsychology in case the dreaded Chill of Sontar appears. Because the High Beastmaster actually has a couple good buffs that are really efficient on big monsters. So I wanted to make sure I didn't go too crazy on having a squishy front line. So we got two Black Orcs, a couple of Gobos on the flanks. In reserve, we have a couple Orc Biggins for the anti-large, pretty good against Manticores, good against Manticore spam, and of course decent against Cav units. Now in the back, we have three groups of Forest Goblin Spider Riders, one Doomdiver Catapult just to poke archers, shades, go after Cav units, you name it, just gives you some utility and control in the battlefield. And a pretty big Daka line. So we do have a couple Savage Orc Airboys, three in total with the Rusty Arrows here in the middle, and protected in the back, of course, by two groups of Nasty Skulkers. So that's going to be it. Warzog, of course, coming in on his Squealin' Hog. He does have the Effigy of the Git, Fist of Gork, Brainbuster, all those fun spells. That's pretty much it for my army. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the fun new stuff. So for Dov, he does have two groups of these Scourge Runner Chariots. These bad boys, look at him, he's just all excited with his whip, just swinging it around, hitting himself in the face right there. But against Greenskins, kind of interesting, right? Because if they bring in a Ragnarok Spider, it's going to be pretty good. And even against Azag or against Warzog or sniping Black Orcs, these guys have good AP missiles regardless. So I feel like they're going to have some decent utility in the Greenskin matchup. And yeah, you can see these Scourge Runner Chariots going to be opening up here on the Black Orcs, which probably is a good idea. He's got two of those. In the back, he's got Dread Spears and Witch Elves, it looks like. So pretty basic stuff. Usually you see Witch Elves Rampage, pretty good at buzzsawing through light infantry. The back, two groups of Cold Blood Knights, and it looks like it's going to be the dreaded Manticore Summoner. So the Sorceress who's going to be summoning Manticores. He's got a Manticore over here. He does have the Crows of Cain. So one of the new RORs here for the Dark Elves. These guys, of course, have regeneration. They heal themselves. Very, very cost-effective ROR, in my opinion. Dark Riders on the far side, and now let's take a look at what you guys are all waiting for. So it's the High Beastmaster. I think he's going to be pretty good. He's got anti-large, so as far as like gooning Greenskin Lords on a Manticore, very powerful here. 445, bonus first large of 25, can kill Warzog in probably a couple attacks. He does also have a Tormentor Sword, probably one of the best items in the game, and it's really funny. Every time they give this to a character in multiplayer, like 2 months later, they remove it. But yeah, Tormentor Sword is really, really good. So he can snare down your Lords, he can come in, he can snipe you with anti-large. He does also have the Beast Slaver, so he can buff his AP damage and bonus first large. Damn, he can get super jacked. On top of that, the Feather of Torque, which debuffs enemy flying units, and it looks like he does have Whiplash as well. So you can use this on, not on Lords and Heroes, okay. So you can use this on your Cav, your Witch Elves, give him 50% armor pierce damage, a charge bonus. So basically he can just whip one unit on the battlefield and make it super jacked for a period of 21 seconds, which is really strong for like breaking through formations. I like that quite a bit. So let's get this show on the road, guys, and have some fun. So the Greenskins going to be actually waiting for the rush of the Dark Elves. Doomdiver Catapult's currently shooting into the Witch Elves here, and these ladies not going to be having fun as the Gobos do slam into their faces. A little bit of collateral damage in these in the form of those Cold Blood Knights in the back, taking a shot. And here you can see the Scourge Runner Chariots are shooting into the Black Orcs. They haven't taken out too many models yet, but basically a really nice Alpha Strike by Dov over here. He jumps on my Forest Goblin Spider Riders. He does have a Feral Manticore. My Gobos are coming in. I do have my Savage Orc Airboys lending some supporting fire as well, but it looks like he's coming out ahead in this trade very, very well, as he is able to break off one group of Forest Goblin Spider Riders. In the meantime, some Cold Blood Knights charging in, but they are going to be accidentally charging into some Biggins here, who should actually be pretty good against him. And the Skulkers are going to get Fist of Gork to help them, sustain in this fight a little bit. Black Orcs in the front line doing a decent job, of course, and a bit of a 3v1 engagement here, but nonetheless they're able to crump some of these ladies and some of these spears, doing an okay job. And some of the Forest Goblin Spider Riders with Wah popped are going to be charging to intercept those Scourge Chariots in the back. So basically, no pressure from the side of the battlefield. I was expecting a lot more, so I'm going to be rotating most of my army over here to go help the situation. And here comes the Crows of Cain. Now, these guys are really hard to get rid of. That healing is very, very powerful, so he engages the Spider Riders here. So I get my Skulkers, I get my Spider Riders. I go down here, we're going to be dropping Smoke Bomb, and hopefully we'll be able to finish off these essentially naked ladies who are quite pissed off here in this situation. So up in the sky, you can see the High Beastmaster is coming in, zooming in on the Hog, probably going to be dropping a Tormentor Sword, I would imagine. And it looks like, yeah, he's going in for the kill here. So Warzog's going to have to drop some Hog moves here and get away. You can see that anti-large shot is going to make contact with Warzog. And Effigy of the Git is going to be going down as well. And all my archers are going to be switching their fire onto the High Beastmaster, trying to salvage that situation. Now, over here, it wasn't bad. Having the Biggins fighting against those Cav units was quite good. Doing great work here against some of these Cold Blood Knights. My archers are still shooting a little bit. We are able to break the Manticore and actually salvage this whole engagement here for the most part. It was a pretty bad situation at first, but in the end, we actually ended up doing okay, and it didn't even matter. Sorry, I had to drop a Linkin Park reference. But anyways, we're finally able to get rid of these Harpies, but a really nice kind of sticky piece here. It was able to shut down my Doomdivers for quite some time, occupied a lot of my forces, and really didn't do a bad job. And over here, the High Beastmaster has taken a lot of archer fire. He's going to be coming back up into the sky with his dreaded ponytail, and the Beast Slaver has been popped. So right now, he's just juiced to the gills. 5 857. He charges in, actually goes after Wurzog. A very ballsy engagement for sure, as I have Spider Riders, I have nasty Skulkers, I have a lot of nasty stuff here. So Wurzog's going to be pulling back, trying to get away here, as obviously we want nothing to do with the situation. So we're going to be trying to goon out the High Beastmaster. It looks like Dav is going to be summoning another Manticore right here to go in and try and get a mass terror out. And unfortunately, if not for that terror out, we probably would have been able to get the Lord. But really nice play there, sending in that second Manticore to just tilt it over the edge. Tormentor Sword's going down as well, so all these troops have a negative melee attack debuff. Very, very good play right there. In the meantime, Scourge Runner Chariot shooting in as well. My Spider Riders didn't really do a good job. I actually thought the Spider Riders would be able to kind of hold these guys back in melee and maybe keep them from advancing and do more damage, but they were actually able to shoot the Spider Riders with their ballistas on the back and kill them very quickly, because Spider Riders are still an anti-large unit. So the Dark Elves are pretty much able to break the center pocket. You can see here the Scourge Runner Chariots are going to be drifting in here, and this is what makes them so good against Greenskins as well, is that they're Chariots, and Greenskins, of course, have a lot of good targets like Salvador Boys, Goblin Archers, just tons of lightly armored infantry in general. So you can see the Chariots having quite a field day just running through these Orc Boys here in the backfield. Now over here, Bounce of Power is in the favor of the Dark Elves, but again, it is partially falsely inflated due to the Manticore summon, so if I can survive those, I still have a lot of stuff left on the battlefield. Wurzog is getting hunted, but it looks like his Wild Hog is barely able to get free, as he does drop a Brain Busta and busts the brain of those Witch Elves and those Dread Spears over there, but yeah, you can see this Manticore's got a pretty big heart on here, and is coming in to go after Wurzog, and we can't quite get away from the dreaded triple Manticore gooning right here, so of course, Lord Gooning has always been very, very good against Greenskins right here, especially with Wurzog. He's not the tankiest of lords. So, seeing the High Beastmaster up in the sky, I'm going to be dropping Effigy of the Git because I figured he was coming in for the Death Thrust there. So I have some Black Orcs coming in, I have the Rusty Arrows back online, and they're going to be shooting up in the sky after the High Beastmaster, and Wurzog is basically just squealing and running to the help of these Black Orcs, who have pretty good mass, and should be able to actually block up the Sorcerers here. And you can actually see that the High Beastmaster is getting pretty low, but Wurzog summoning the power of Gork and Mork and blasting the High Beastmaster in the face, and a really cool cinematic shot. But nonetheless, the High Beastmaster survives. 653, and that was something like the balance of power was pretty going back towards the middle there. If we were able to goon out the High Beastmaster there and Wurzog were to survive this, I think we might have been in a situation where our Black Orcs and our Biggins maybe could have won this game, but with Wurzog getting gooned out there, oh man, that's going to be very, very tough. But nonetheless, we still got some fight in us, guys. Tormentor Sword is active, very, very powerful items able to snare me in place, and you can see Wurzog's terrified, he's tormented, just all sorts of negative attributes being applied to poor Wurzog here, and it looks like the Hog is going to be squealing and running off the battlefield. Yeah, he's going for the edge pretty quick. So the bounce power does go into the favor of the Dark Elves. Granted, the Black Orcs here, the Blorks, getting a pretty good engagement here against the Sorceress, actually getting some nice chops, and we might be able to break her off. 434, she's broken, so it looks like the Dark Elves might actually be losing their Sorceress as well. We have 50 Biggins here, we have Black Orcs, we have some Spider Riders as well, and then if we look around here, we got some Goblins in the distance, but the biggest issue for me at this point is I have nothing with mass to actually stop the Chariot. So again, showing the really good dual purpose here of the Scourge Runner Chariots here in the late game. These guys are able to charge back and forth, and they're certainly going to be just causing a ton of problems for my infantry. And even though, like, if he sat still and stayed in combat, I might be able to grind him down here. The Manticore Beast up in the sky is very, very low, but yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, the Chariots are going to be putting this game on their back here, as the Forest Goblin Spider Riders are able to hunt down that caster over there. Looks like the Manticore might be able to free him up, but yeah, the Chariot's just doing brutal work. And that's pretty much going to be all she wrote, as the Orcs are just going to stand there and be cycle charged into oblivion by those Chariots. So very well played. It was a really fun game for sure. And a lot of gooning, and that was very good against Wurzog. I almost brought Azag. I was like, okay, he's fast, he can kite a little bit better. That probably would have been smarter in this situation, because he can outrun Manticores and things like that. But, you know, I heard the call of Gork and Mork. The Prophet had to be summoned, and I actually think the Prophet's pretty good here, especially with the Daka line. Having the FG of the Git to snare things down and focus was really good, but honestly, those Scourge Runner Chariots just owned me. They got really good value throughout the course of the game. They not only picked off my Lord throughout the course of the game, but they also got into my back line, dealt with archers, and you can't really effectively chase them with cav units. Like Forest Goblin Spider Riders, if you guys were to watch that replay back and we just focused on it, I did see it a second time, and the Spider Riders basically got on top of them, and then the Chariots were just tanking them with 80 armor, while the Ballistas on top were just shooting the Spider Riders to pieces. So like, it was really hard to trap them down. You would need something like Demogryph Knights with like heavy AP to really bring them down fast, or some like bacon bikes or pork cav or whatever you want to call them. But yeah, it was really, that did not work, like trying to shut those guys down. And I just didn't have an answer for the Chariots, like none. I had a lot of anti-infantry. I thought the Spider Riders could do it, but I feel like you're going to have to account for that with Greenskins now. Maybe bring like some Orc Boar Boy Biggins, as much as I hate to say it, or maybe you just get really good Skulker play and you lock them down and just trap them in that way. Azag would have been pretty good as well, I think, with his Spirit Leeches to kind of goon them out, plus his AP and poison damage. But yeah, it was tough. Dob brought a really good build, juicing up the Manticores with the Whiplash from the Beastmaster. Plus, he himself is a very good sniper against lightly armored lords. It was a really cool build, and I really liked the way Dob played it. It was incredibly solid. So very well played to the great Dob plays. Make sure to check out his YouTube channel if you guys haven't. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed this early look at the Greenskins versus Dark Elves in this new and evolving metagame. And we'll see you guys in the next couple days. Take care.